are back from Cape York. We're in beautiful sunny Gippsland.
Gippsland, yeah, we got it right this time.
So we've popped a little question box up and you guys have asked us all of your Cape York questions. So we're going to sit down,
answer them. We're also going to show you the damage report. So we did have a fair few breakages up on the Cape, so we're going to share with you guys what happened to us, how much it cost to fix, how much the trip cost, but more importantly, how you guys can avoid these issues. So a lot of them could have been avoided. Cape York was brutal. Alright guys, so I'm going to walk around the van, show you the things that we didn't do, and what we should have done. So the van structurally, the TIG welded aluminium frame held up beautifully. Not once did we ever think it wouldn't. So nothing structurally happened at all. We lost the bloody awning screw, so these little securing screw-in things, we didn't do them up and they rattled loose, and we're slow learners. I know it's happened like 3 times already. We didn't get any dust right in any of our compartments, so I'll show you what we did first. We actually tightened up all our compression latches. We got a tiny bit of dust right on the edge of the door seal right here. Mind the mess. So as you can see here, yeah, we got a little bit of dust in there. No dust in the living quarters in the van at all. So we got a tiny bit of dust on these seals here. This isn't pressurized, so these hatches aren't connected to the living area, and that's where our dust suppression system is. So to get a little bit of dust on like really a lot of corrugations, I think we did about 2,000 Ks, so that's not too bad at all. We definitely did adjust these little latches so they suck in and click in hard. That was massively important. Something else that sort of happened on the Cape was a few stone chips on the front. So if you swing around here, we've been bloody peppered by stones. Even though we've got them rock we've got rock tamers. We're definitely going to get the stone stompers next time, which is the net. So on the new van and the new bus that we're getting, we're definitely going to get stone stompers. So try to avoid all this. Even though we had the a bit of sort of padding on there, it still didn't do much. The damage is done. Fair few stone chips there, and it doesn't help that Percy the Prado has a lot of poke, so the wheels stick outside the guards, and they're muddy, so they just pick the stones up and fling them. So that's one of the issues we had. Another issue we had that was quite major is we popped the hot water element, so that wasn't good. We didn't have hot water on the last part of the Cape. I reckon it was a Swift appliance, so we have a Swift hot water system, and yeah, you can't help but stuff happen. It's a product. It's not Urban's fault. They just install the products, and we've since had it in at Urban. They fixed it. So yeah, you know, it's a warranty issue. So they're amazing. As soon as you have any warranty issues, they're straight away on the phone sorting it out for you. Obviously we couldn't get it up in the Cape because you're pretty remote. It's pretty hard to get a hot water service up there. So we didn't care. It was bloody hot up there. As long as we could have a cold shower, we're pretty happy. So it's all fixed now. That was a pretty major issue though. Solar, batteries, all that stuff. We're running 4 120X batteries, so the iTech World lithium batteries, and they held up a treat. So we bounced them, got them super hot. I think there was a few 36-degree days that were doing a lot of corrugation. So all the things you shouldn't do with lithium batteries, and they were sweet. So still running the aircon when we wanted to, and we had a really good time because we still had that battery power. And if you guys do want some lithium batteries or any 12-volt gear, we do have a discount code with iTech World. SKT will get you 5% off store-wide, save you a few bucks, and yeah, you'll be happy with that, I reckon. So what else went wrong? So tyre pressures, this is probably the most important thing when you do a tough track. I know a lot of people talk about it, and it's definitely to do with the size of your rig, where the weight is. So we've got a single axle van. It's a lot different to having a dually. There's more weight over one center point, where if you've got a dual axle, you're actually spreading the weight over a bigger surface area on the ground. So you'd have to drop your tires more on a dual axle than you would on a single axle. So because we got so much weight over one point, we have to be careful. If we drop our tires too low and hit a ditch a bit hard, we're going to rim out, right? And because we got alloys, they don't bend, they crack. So you can't repair alloys that easily. That's why steel's quite a good option when you're remote, but steelies are heavy. So we're still running the alloys. We dropped these to about 20 PSI, and that was the perfect amount for it to be soft. But when we did hit a washout too quick, we weren't rimming out and buggering our rims. So we're pretty much running 20 PSI on the back of Percy and on Keith, and that was sort of the magic number for us. And so Percy's 3 ton, Keith's around 2.4 tons, so we weighed him on the way home. So if you've got a van around that weight, definitely run your tyres at around 20 PSI. I always say 20 is probably the lowest you'd want to go. We were sitting on about 60-70 Ks, just enough speed to get that torque converter locked in, so we're looking after the transmission on the car. not working that too hard, but also looking after our running gear, our suspension, our tyres and rims. So yeah, it's a bit of a balancing act, but once you get it right and dialed in, you shouldn't have any issues at all. So let's teleport to WA, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened to Percy the Prado. Spoken a little bit about what happened to the Caravan on the Cape York trip. Everyone knows that we had a few car problems, especially after we did Nolan's. So I'm going to run you through what actually happened with Percy the Prado and how you guys can go about fixing it. So with these Toyotas, the first thing I need to point out is the alternator is extremely low. So Toyota, I don't know who engineered this one, but they've left the alternator pretty much the most lowest hanging fruit on the vehicle. So even them river crossings you saw us do that were only like sort of 400 deep, they were all touching the alternator. The water was submerging the alternator even on them low ones. So if you think about it, we probably did 20 to 30 river crossings up at the Cape that were easily that deep. So straight off the bat, water isn't that bad for alternators. They don't like it, but it's actually the sediment and the silt in the water that actually buggers your alternator over time. And let me tell you, Cape York has plenty of sediment and silt and clay and mud, and pretty much everything that an alternator doesn't like. So you can imagine how much buildup that already has. Another thing worth adding is that alternator was actually around 8 years old from what I can gather. It had a little date on it, so I can assume that it's around 8 years old. So that's pretty good going considering we were maxing that output out the whole freaking time. We're charging caravans, Percy the Prado's charging itself, running fridges and air compressors all simultaneously. So we were asking a lot from that alternator, and unfortunately it did let go at the worst possible time, which was Nolan's Creek. But we did get that alternator light at the start of the day. I didn't say it straight away on the video, but it did happen on the south part of the teletrack, and then it went away and then it come back. So it already started sort of playing up the day before it let go. But yeah, it is what it is. And once your battery gets that low and you keep having to jump start it, yeah, it's not good for the battery either. So pretty well what we did is we cooked the absolute crap out of the battery, just jump starting it, kept going, flattening it because there's no alternator charge, jumping it again, getting the car going, that we absolutely killed this battery. So to get out of Nolan's Creek, we dropped in a new one, which inherently got buggered as well because we drained that flat as well. But that got us out of trouble. We got up to Seisha and we actually got a new alternator. So that's what happened there. Apart from that, the car was pretty much scot-free. We got a few scratches on the sliders and stuff from the teletrack, but all in all, there wasn't too much wrong with Percy the Prado after that trip. Like you guys saw, we did get a bit of water in the car, but one hot day up at the Cape dried that completely out. And yeah, Bob's your auntie's uncle, we are sweet. And I have to regretfully say, but Percy the Prado has officially been sold. The money is in my account, so this is no longer my vehicle. It's so sad really when you think about it. All the trips we've done with this thing, and I don't know what you guys are like out there, but I get emotionally attached to cars, and it's probably a toxic trait of mine, but yeah, it's just a car, I know that, but it's been our pride and joy for such a long time, and it's pretty much been the foundation of our channel. Like without this thing, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing now. So very keen to show you guys what we have, and that's a pretty good segue actually.
Okay, so we had heaps and heaps and heaps of questions, planning questions, caravan questions and car questions. So we'll start with all the planning. First one is, how is the main road? I'm a very nervous 4x4 beginner.
So main road was the PDR, the Peninsula Development Road. That is the main road that goes from Lakelands all the way up to Seisha, and that's gravel with no water crossings, generally speaking. They did get a lot of rain this year. Normally it's very corrugated, very washed out, and the dips sneak up on you, especially when you're trying to get on the corrugations at about 70 k's an hour on top of them. A few times we did lock it up going into some dips, and thank God we did, because we got the van in the air, I reckon. So yeah, the road wasn't great this year, but it does get graded quite often and changes from season to season. So just check the season that you're going to go, and a bit of word of mouth. So people go up and join a few Facebook pages that actually update people on the road conditions.
Yeah, basically what we did, it's probably changed since then. So yeah, it's good to know people who have done it just before you.
Yeah.
Is it safe for us travellers who don't have a four-wheel drive? Personally,
I don't know about that one.
I wouldn't recommend it. It is a four-wheel drive destination, I would say, and the corrugations were quite bad. We did see some like quite small four-wheel drives, like little X-Trails and RAV4s, but not four-wheel drive. Probably wouldn't risk it.
Yeah, I'd definitely stick to a 4-drive. You definitely want one up there.
What time of the year is the best for the telegraph track? So
probably mid-year, dry.
Yeah, dry season, which is May to October.
Which they didn't get one this year because of this La Nina cycle's kicked in over the El Nino, and yeah, there's the wet season, the dry season become the wet season.
Yeah. So that goes into the next question: is it too late to get through now? It's start of October now, so
you could get away with it, but you're pushing it.
Next question was, do you have a map showing everywhere you went up there? We've got a little WikiCamps app, so we'll put that up on the screen for you guys to have a look at where we went. We basically just went up to the tip and then straight back down. Distances and times you travelled each day.
Depends on where you're trying to get to, but a lot of the time, like 100 k's on the PDR is about 3 hours. If time you stop, have wee breaks, check your gear because it's corrugations, get back in, get going again. Like you're doing 3 hours to every 100 k's, so it just depends on how far you're trying to get in the day. But on the last day, we did drive from Seisha all the way off the Cape York track, all the way to Lakeland and Lakelands. Yeah, so we did the whole PDR in a day. So it is doable. You just got to leave really early.
And there's no point because you don't see anything.
No.
Where did you leave your van when you did the old telegraph track, and how long for? So we left it at Bramwell station for 2 nights while we did the southern part, and then when we did the northern part of the tele track, we left it at a gravel pit, which was just like halfway through the telly somewhere.
It was pretty much, we left it right, the gravel pit right at the southern end, the northern end of the south part of the track. That doesn't make much sense.
When you do parts of the old telegraph track, stick to the PDR mainly and see the main spots, e.g. Fruitbat Falls. Well, that's basically what we did.
Yeah, so Fruitbat
is actually on the PDR. Yeah.
So to do parts of the telly, you're pushing it because it depends on year to year. The track changes so much. So one year you've got the option to go back out to the PDR. Like this year, once you go through like a creek like Mistake Creek or something like that, there's no turning back. To get out of there, you'd actually have to backtrack, do the creek the opposite way, which is sometimes impossible. Like the drop-ins were just so gnarly this year, you couldn't go back up them. So this year you couldn't turn around a lot of the time. The time we got to Gunshot, you sort of can't really turn around. You've got to drop in and do it. But like I said, it changes year to year. The track changes so much.
How can you get around Palm Creek? Would we have to go back to Bramwell? This year there wasn't a track around Palm Creek, was there?
No. So the chicken track that we'll put on the screen now is the only way down into Palm Creek. And there's about 3 exits, and we actually took the easiest way in and probably the easiest way out as well. So that's your chicken track.
Do you need to book campsites? So we stayed in a mix of free camps, which is obviously first in best dressed, and then we stayed in the national park camps, which you obviously have to pre-book online with Queensland Parks. So yes, total cost of the trip, fuel, food, camping, and the ferries.
Full disclaimer, this one we did not keep receipts, but going back we've done a rough calculation, so we've rounded it to the nearest like $50 or something like that. So take it away, Sarah.
We thought our total cost would be around $2,000 to $2,500, but that does not include the car repairs. So we spent $750 on the car up at Cape York.
Yeah. So alternator.
That's excluding that.
Yeah, alternator $450, new bat, because we fried our bat as well because the alternator wasn't charging it. That wasn't cheap as well. So all up it was around $750, but it could have been a lot worse if we didn't know the right people in the right places. So
food and fuel supplies. Where did we get fuel?
So we got fuel at Cohen, Musgrave. You can get fuel at Bramwell and also Bamaga as well. So when we did the Gibb River Road, you've only got one spot, and that is Barnett Roadhouse. That's dead smack bang in the middle of the Gibb River. We thought the Cape York track was going to be the same. We were pleasantly surprised by how much fuel's available up there, so don't worry about fuel consumption. There's heaps of places.
Food, so what we did is we stocked up in Mareeba and we got like $350 worth of groceries. We pretty much sorted ourselves for the whole 3 weeks. However, when you get to Cooktown, there is a little IGA there. Cohen had a little small grocery store, but very small, and Bamaga had an IGA, but obviously that was very, very expensive. So
bloody expensive, but fair enough because it's so remote. So
we would recommend just stocking up in Mareeba or Cairns and make sure you've got majority of the stuff that you need.
But of course you're going to get up there and you'll run out of your sweet stuff, your chocolates, your iced coffees, your treats. So when we were at these smaller IGA remote towns and stuff, we were just smashing lollies and chocolate and shit.
To give you an idea of cost at Bamaga, a packet of Smith's chips was like $7.50.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Where did you get your fresh water for the van?
You guys want to go in quickly? Cool down?
Go for a swim with
You can get it. We actually got it at Cohen.
Cooktown, Cohen.
Yeah, Cooktown, Cohen.
Bramwell Station.
Bramwell.
Bamaga at
Bamaga.
Loyalty Beach Camp grounds.
So same thing
It's
again.
basically everywhere. It's crazy.
So the Gibb River Road at Barnett was the only place where you could get fuel, and we thought it was going to be like that. So first few days we were really preserving water, and all of a sudden these all the families were with. They were all having like 5-minute
They were
showers.
doing washing and stuff. We're like, what are you guys doing? Like, we haven't got no water.
So we never run out. We always just had heaps in the bank. We never really abused it too much.
This will lead into the next question. So this person's saying their van has 60 litres of water, 70 litres of diesel and their ute. Is it possible for them to do Cape York, and should they carry bulk jerry cans?
Well, I reckon they'd do it. I reckon bring 2 jerry cans just in case. 1 jerry of water, 1 jerry of fuel, just to back yourself up. But yeah, if you're lenient on the throttle, because you can definitely chew it. Like sitting in these mid-range corrugation speeds, you can definitely chew your juice. All I'd say is research your car, find out where you can go slow enough to be fuel efficient, because some cars, if you're going too slow, your torque converter's not going to lock in, your transmission's going to get bloody hot, and not only that, you'll be using a lot of fuel. So that's a recipe for disaster when you've only got 70 litres, so just carry a few jerrys, I'd say.
Derek and Sue, they struggled with fuel up there because their 79 just chews through it.
Yeah.
So we were at the Prado, but
we had 150 litres and that was sweet. No problems at all.
Are there alcohol restrictions on the Cape? And we got asked this question so many times.
Is there?
There is. So
Okay,
basically
there is.
I'm going to go all nerd and just read off my computer so we don't stuff this up. So you are not allowed to drink alcohol in a public place in Queensland unless the area is an approved wet area. Northern Peninsula area, restricted area, covers the communities that make up the NPA Regional Council. So that is Bamaga, Inaju, New Mapoon, Seisha and Armagako.
Good job.
So that includes all of the public and private places in that area. You cannot drink, and the maximum amount of alcohol a person can have in that restricted area is 2 litres of wine and 11.25 litres of any strength beer, or 2 litres of wine and 9 litres of pre-mixed spirits. And that can only be on one person, and it doesn't matter how many people you have in your car. So if it's me and Keelan in the same car, we can only have that amount of alcohol together. So it's per vehicle, that amount of alcohol.
Wow, we're
Did
probably
that make
over.
sense?
We probably had too much alcohol then.
Possibly. So thinking about that, Loyalty Beach, New Mapoon and Seisha camping grounds, they are designated wet areas. So in those areas you can drink and consume alcohol.
Yeah, which everyone was doing, and they actually sell, like down at Loyalty Beach, they have a few nights where they do fish and chips and stuff. They got a little bar in there and stuff.
And
So
you can buy alcohol.
just a little fun fact for everyone sitting at home right now enjoying this beautiful video. I hope it's riveting. This is probably the most boring video that we've made for a very long time. We're very sorry about that, but this might brighten up your day. So if you're sitting on the couch and you drink a bit of beer, drink a few froths, well, I'll tell you what, I've probably paid the most you'd pay for a carton of beer in the country. I paid $95 for a case of pineapple, so 4X gold.
Ridiculous.
I don't even drink 4X gold, so I had to settle for that, and I ended up paying $95 a case. So you just think, you normally get 2 cartons for that down in Civilization, but
and a cask of wine was like $45. I did not pay that, but still.
at the time when you're looking around and Smith's chips are costing $7 a packet, you take your $95 carton of beer, because that's actually pretty good when you think about how remote you actually are. So pretty happy with that. I never ran out of beers that whole time, so I was a bit worried about that restriction. So I only brought 2 cartons of beer and some other bits and pieces, some like stray cans and stuff that are in the fridge. I actually went through that all in a week, and then when we got to Cohen on the way up, that's when I bought the carton of gold.
That was a very long alcohol story.
and then I actually ran out again. So yeah, it's hard because you don't want to break the rules, but you also want to drink a few cans with your mates. So just, it's a balancing act. Anyway, story over.
Jesus. Do people take dogs, and did you see many crocs? yes, people take dogs. However, when you go up to Cape York, you can go through 10 national parks and you cannot take dogs in national parks. So
Yeah, there you
it's
go.
up to you.
It's your choice, but we're not going to tell you what to do.
We are keen to do the Cape from Perth. What would be the best route?
Probably by plane and then get a car. It's a bloody long drive. So
Yeah, it is.
to put it in perspective, we drove from Cape York, Australia down to the Sydney four-wheel drive show, and then we took Percy the Prado all the way back to home, like you guys would have just seen, and then we've flown back to Melbourne, picked up our new tow rig, which we'll be talking about very soon. And then we got back here, and after all that, we were so over driving. I don't even want to drive like 10 minutes down the road. So yeah, it's definitely a long trip, so prepare for that. But if you could get a car that you don't care about, if you're going to do the telly track, buy one in Queensland, a rust bucket, an old Hilux or something, and just take it down the telly.
Yeah, but this is a group of friends that asked this question. So
I would do that. I'd all go quarters or halves in this car and just take it down the telly track and have a sick time.
Yeah.
That's
or
what I'd
drive
do.
across the top. That'd be sick.
Yeah, anyway.
Has the somersault king had any injuries performing his acrobatic antics?
Somersault King. Backies, bruh. Yeah, no, I haven't. But to be honest with you, I've been backflipping since I was 2 years old, and I like to think my air awareness when I'm inverted flying through the air is pretty good. So I'm pretty safe. I don't do anything too daring. Gib River Road, I hucked a few big ones off a 12-metre cliff. That was pretty gnarly. But yeah, anyway, I haven't had
We're
any
always very
injuries.
careful about where we do it. Like, I'm never going to let him do anything stupid. So we have had lots of concerned messages.
As
and
if you
thank
can
you
stop
for
me.
those.
As if you can stop me doing from backies.
Your mum has told you 1,000 times, but yeah, he'll be fine. Caravan questions. Did you take your van all the way up to the Cape?
Yes,
Yes, we did.
that's a yes.
How did the van go on the way up there?
Pretty good. It actually did better than the car, and I didn't doubt that, to be honest with you. The Percy was getting a bit on, and to be honest with you, this is how much we believe in Urban Caravans and their product, is that we weren't worried about the van at all. We knew it was going to get no dust, no structural issues. The only thing that we needed to check was the fridge, the little upright fridge at the back of the van. Sometimes when you go over a big dip and we get air in, like under the tyres in the van, so it's airborne, when it lands in like big suspension dip, the fridge latch will sometimes unhook because of the G forces. So every time we got air, we just pulled over, checked the fridge, make sure it didn't open, and everything
We
fly
were
out.
not
That was it.
driving that fast, though.
No. Sometimes you can't help it. You hit a dip too hard because you're trying to sit on. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's the only thing. Making sure that bloody fridge didn't open.
Okay, next section is the car questions. So, what would you say are the essential modifications for a Prado to be capable of touring?
I can just tyres.
Tyres, bull bar, lights?
Nah.
Good lights?
Don't drive at night. You can avoid lights. Don't drive at night. You can avoid bull bar.
UHF?
UHF very much for Cape, because the amount of times we use that thing. So pretty much on normal like routes when you're driving on the highway, you go from not using a UHF too much to the Cape, you're using it every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So
would you want a diff locker for the next time you go?
yes, and on UHFs too, we do have a discount code with Oricom. So if you want 15% off the whole Oricom website, SKT15 in the discount code section, that'll get you 15% off and save you a few bucks when you want that UHF. So
and we
just
had
remember
that
that.
big long one. What's that called?
It's called the 6.6 dBi antenna, and that actually screws onto the 3.3. So we'll
we
get
had
really
good service.
the best on our convoy for sure.
Diff lockers, sorry.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So if I was to do the Cape York again, I would definitely get a diff lock of some sort, either front or rear. Not too sure yet. It's very debatable which one's better, but pretty well, if you had a diff locker and a winch, you would eat that track. Even this year, you would have brown undies. Like, don't get me wrong, it's scary as it gets, but you've got that backup, you got that insurance and that confidence that you're going to get out of there in one piece. So yeah, definitely recommend a diff lock.
And that was the next question as well. Do you recommend a winch?
If you can afford one and a diff lock, ideal.
We didn't have a winch. Everyone else did.
We couldn't afford one.
Yeah,
and
so.
yeah, we couldn't put it in our GVM calc as well. We'd be way overweight. So
Do you think running a snorkel without the snorkel sock was the right way to go, fuel versus filter?
I reckon, this is my take on things, and this could be debated. Let us know in the comments what you guys reckon. Also, let us know in the comments what you think our new car is too, because I'm pretty keen to hear some guesses. We haven't asked you yet, so let us know what you guys reckon. But going back to the snorkel socks, so you can get these pre-filters. They're a red filter that goes on your ram head. We didn't run one because if they clog up, your air to fuel ratio is out of whack. You'll be sucking a lot more fuel because you can't get enough air in. Your car will run a lot more thirsty than what it would be if you had clean air coming in. So what we did in the convoy, we wouldn't sit in someone's dust. We'd just space ourselves a little bit further back, even go at the back of the pack, let everyone get about a K ahead. And then without long range on our UHF, we still had contact with them. So they would call any big hazards or anything on the road. But what that would do is we'd sit in the clean air, and the whole time we had probably the cleanest air filter in the convoy because we were hunting that clean air.
And on that note, we also split our convoy up. So a lot of people have said that we had a huge convoy. We actually split it up. So one convoy would go ahead, and then 10 minutes later the next convoy would go, so that we were spreading ourselves out. So if people needed to get around, it wasn't like kilometres of caravans.
Yeah.
What is your aux battery and DC would you recommend for my 150 Prado?
So this is a very, very good question because this is a controversial topic. So a lot of people said, do not run lithium under bonnet. How many people have said that? Heaps, eh?
Everyone.
Everyone says, do not put lithium batteries under bonnet. And to be honest with you, when we first did it, listening to this advice, we were worried. Especially when we're doing trips like Gibb River Road, Cape York, we're doing remote trips. You need dual bat. You can't get away without having one. iTech World, the 120X battery, we've put one of those under the bonnet, and that's not only under bonnet rated, but it's an AGM drop-in replacement, meaning you don't have to charge it on a lithium battery charger. We run ours on a lead acid battery charger, so that's almost like a double whammy. The reason you shouldn't put lithium under bonnet is because they don't like the heat, they don't like the corrugations, and they certainly don't like getting drowned in Nolans. So we did all those things and plus more. So thousands of Ks of corrugations, heaps of river crossings. We did not have one issue with that 120X iTech World battery. So I would 100% recommend those to go under bonnet. We know they work firsthand. We've tested them ourselves, not one issue. And yeah, I would recommend one to go on the 150 series Prado. All you have to do is nip out the corner of your battery tray, because they are slightly bigger than your standard 100 amp hour cranking batteries. So nip out the corner. It's probably a 10-minute job. Sarah watched me do it. Like when we put it in, it's nothing to do at all.
Yeah.
And just make sure your battery clamp's nice and tight. So yeah, and we have that code too. So SKT will get you 5% off all iTech World products too. So if you're going to do that, use the code, save yourself $50. Is your aux battery and DC? Oh, sorry, we run an Intervolt one. So that came with the car, and that's, like I said, it's lead acid. It's an Australian-made company, which is pretty cool, and it does work really well. It's called an Intervolt charger. Don't have any discount codes with them. iTech World do a good DC to DC charger as well.
Did the Ram do okay? We will be doing it next year in our 1500, and a bit concerned about its size.
Nah, Rams are sick. So Simon,
8.5.
Simon had a really good time up at the Cape with his Ram.
And so did Darrell.
Yep, and Darrell had a good time. So we actually had two 150s, 1500 Rams in the convoy. And yeah, size didn't matter. They were doing it in comfort.
It was a bit tight, like on the side steps and stuff. They got a little bit of damage on the side steps, but other than that, they were alright.
All I'd say is get good bash plates, because they are longer. They do get hung up a little bit more underneath, so make sure you get bash plates. And another thing is good set of tyres, because the Rams had like big 19-inch rims. They didn't have much sidewall, so dropping the tyres to a low pressure, they were rolling rims off the tyre. The bead was popping. So have you ever seen two tyres popped at the same time?
No, only in Rams. Must be a Ram thing.
Just make sure your tyres are good and get your rims as small as possible if you do want to go off-road with these Rams. But certainly they can do it, and they proved that this year. It was amazing to watch the Rams.
2 questions are a little bit sly, I think. If you had to upgrade Percy, what would you get?
Can't tell you. You're going to have to wait till next week. So next week we'll be announcing the new tow rig, which we're so excited about. It's our dream car. And if anyone knows us that well on the channel, we've harped on about it before. Everyone knows what car we've got, but we're currently in the midst of a big build on it. So we've just done the bull bar. We're doing rear drawers, snorkel, exhaust, freaking rims, tyres, freaking everything you can throw at this thing. We're spending so much money, and we are broke. So that's coming up for you.
Anything you would do differently next time? Or we would get like, if we were to do it again, we had heaps of fun in Percy. However, if we were to do the telly again, it would be sick to do it in like an old farm ute or something, just like we didn't care about, and we would have like been able to do actual Palm Creek, actual gunshot, because we wouldn't have been stressing. Like,
No.
in those moments, I was in tears. Like, I was crying at gunshot, thinking like we're gonna stuff our car up here.
It's pretty.
Keelan
It actually was
really
very
stressful
because Percy is our pride and joy.
and
So
it was
like,
our home, so we didn't want
Yeah.
to do anything silly or anything that we couldn't, handle. So yeah, it was very stressful, and I think if we had have had a car that we weren't so attached to, we probably would have not been as careful as we were up there.
imagine if like 4-wheel drive 24/7 did it with Shauno and Graham doing it in the old Nissan and the old Yoda. Like if you had 2 cars like that, mint, because you just send them down stuff, you don't care. Like for us, we weren't worried about hurting or injuring ourselves or anyone else, even though that did happen to someone else on the telly. We weren't worried about that. We were worried about damaging our stuff and losing money, because we are full-time travellers and we can't afford to just fix things and break things willy-nilly.
Yeah.
So the whole time we were just like full preservation mode. Do not stuff the car up. Do not drown it. Do not do all this stuff. Ended up drowning it, I know, but yeah, that's what's scary about Cape York, and especially the telly track.
Yeah,
Stuff in
and
the gear.
hindsight is a wonderful thing. So we've had heaps of messages from people saying, oh, you should have done this or you should have done that, but it's so easy for us to sit here and watch a video back of us doing something and thinking, oh, maybe we should have done this, but obviously you're thinking that you're watching the video of it happening. It's not in the moment. So yes, we've learnt from things that we've done, but that's what life is about: learning and making mistakes and learning.
And look at me right here. Look at me. We're not experts, and we don't claim to be experts. We're learning the same as everyone else.
We're in our late 20s. We're not like
late
pros.
20s. I'm 26. I'm a young buck, old bag, 28. But no, we're still learning, and we're not experts. So yeah, we're not experts, and we're still learning. So don't be too critical. No one's actually an expert. If you didn't already know that, no one's an expert. So
people learn every day.
Yeah.
Last question: would you do it again?
I would. Sarah said she wouldn't, but
I know on the Cape I was like, nah, I'm never coming back to this place.
Yeah.
We'd do the telly again with a different car.
Yeah.
But we'd do like just Cape York again, easy. That's just a gravel road. But would we jump straight into the telly again right now? Probably not.
Well, next year I can tell you one thing that's going to happen. We're going to get another La Nina cycle. So all the floods that have been happening, absolutely dreadful. Shout out to anyone that's going through some crap at the moment. We feel so sorry for you, but next year I think we've got another year of this unseasonal rain. This massive flooding that's happening on the east coast is going to happen again. From what I've done some research on, I can understand. So Cape York next year is going to be really gnarly, because they're going to get twice as much rain, and rain and trucks don't get along. It normally washes them out. So yeah, I'm keen to see some of the vids that come out of Cape York next year, but we certainly
won't be us.
but we copped a fair old hiding up at Cape York this year, so yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we tell them about the big news?
Nah, next week.
We'll tell you next week. We'll show you next week what we bought. We're pretty excited about it, if you couldn't tell. And thank you to you guys. All this that is happening to us now is all a product of your support. You guys liking, commenting, sharing our videos, even talking about it with your mates. It's all a product of that, so we can't thank yous enough. Cannot wait to show you what we've been up to, and it's very exciting, the future. So
yeah.
All right, can you see me? All right.
Anyway,
so no.
No.
Hey.
I'm saying finishing it.
All right, you finish it. I'll say. All right. One thing I want you guys to do for us is let us know in the comments below your pick on what car we got. So a few of the prerequisites that we're chasing is 3.5 ton towing. It has to have that. It has to actually be able to do it legally and physically, like we've discussed in previous videos. Plus we've got to have a little bit of payload for modifications and stuff. So they're pretty much our main prerequisites. Oh, and it's got to be 4-wheel drive too.
Obviously.
Yeah, so we have spent a fair bit of money. That's a bit of a clue. Yeah, let us know what you reckon. So
wait. Thanks for watching, guys. Sorry it was a little bit on the boring side today. If you would like to like and subscribe, it helps our channel grow and go a long way. And we promise you next week's video will not be a sit-down Q&A. That is the last of this video for a good few months.
Yeah, thanks guys. You.
So we're just gone and picked up our brand new 4-wheel drive to head around Australia in. A lot of you guys have guessed what it is, but there's heaps of people who have gotten it very wrong. This is our dream car. We never ever expected that we would have one of these cars, but here it is.